Yeah. Oh, ooh, yeah. Amaru, yeah. Turn up for the night. Real thing, she's no average girl. Too fine, oh, she mine. She's so damn fine. I just wanna call on you. Money just fall on you. Another thing I won't do. Ooh, yeah. I just wanna call on you. Let me do it all for you. Can't nobody fall on you. Ooh, yeah. She the girl in my vision.
Hey y'all, I'm Bernice Nash, your host of Good Gossip. We are back for a second season. Can y'all believe it? And guess what, y'all? We got Cubs. Now, Incognito Virtual Cast, aka Six Designs TV, has given us our own identity. And what that means for you is you can reach to us directly. Go ahead and give us a shout out at goodgossip.online. Or if you want to email me, give me a show idea. Tell me what you're reading. Give me some commentary. You can do that at bnash@goodgossip.online. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Welcome back, y'all. And today the show will not disappoint. We are going to be talking about one of my new favorite books. It is by Mark Wolynn. It is actually called It Didn't Start With You. Such an inspirational book. And read that subtitle there, How Inherited Family Trauma Shapes Who We Are and How to End the Cycle. That's what it's all about. In the famous words of Brother Malcolm X, if you want to hide something, do so in a book. I don't want anybody to ever hide anything from any of us in a book, because you know what? We have the power where we can read. And even if we can't read, there's audiobooks that are available. There's Braille, obviously, if you can't use a paperback books and things like that. But nobody is removed from being able to enjoy. There's picture books. We can always get a good book and learn something from it. Now, this is one of those books that a lot of psychotherapists have to read before they get into the industry and fully start to service y'all. Why wouldn't you want to know what they know? I'm always digging for information. What I'll tell you is growth and development. It starts with personal education, personal initiatives, because you know where your deficits are. We all learn that in being in school, the school system kind of tailors something towards the masses and kind of pushes you through it. That doesn't cater to your weaknesses and strengths. And I want you as adults and even children, I think children have so much at the fingertips nowadays. Take advantage of it, grow yourself. Who says that you can't be fully healed by the age of 18? Who says that you have to enter into life confused? Those are all myths, and I'm here to crack with y'all. I'm testing all the boundaries with this. There is so much information. There are so many experiences. There are so many things in this world that maybe us in a lifetime we may not be able to fully experience, but somebody else has, and they wrote a book about it. They've cracked that thing. And you know what? How I do it, just like with the multiplication chart, if somebody's already solved that, we already have that chart. Why do I need to do that work? Yes, it's nice for me to know how they arrived at that, but there is no need for me to walk through life and think that I have to solve every problem when some of them have already been solved for me. And really, it's just waiting for me to take it to the next level. So remember that, y'all. Now let's crack into this book. I'm going to go chapter by chapter with y'all, just give you a high level overview, because you know I'm all about self-education, and I want you to get into that material and understand it for yourself, because that's really what reading is about. Same thing when you watch a good movie, your personal experience from it is the most important. Don't let somebody else tell you what it should mean to you. So chapter 1, he talks about what to do when trauma isn't your own. Like, that's a big deal. He identifies that you're living with 3 to 4 generations of trauma. That is a lot of hurt. Think about all the things that you don't know that have happened. Think about all the great things that have happened, all the bad things that have happened, all of the destructive things, all of the habits, all of the indiscretions. Oh my goodness, all that is passed down to us. What are we doing about it? Check out that chapter and he really breaks it down for you. I'll tell you from my own experiences, it caused me to think about women when we menstruate. Think about that. And a lot of people have identified this. Eckhart Tolle has talked about that, pain bodies. So when something in your life happens in a consistent manner, a lot of times it's happening because you are harboring those pain bodies. So think about it. Maybe somebody in your lineage was treated unfairly sexually. Think about it. Somebody just, maybe they were pregnant and they, unfortunately miscarried and something bad happens, or somebody took advantage of them. And later on, all those things that hurt, that pain that maybe they didn't get a chance to deal with because they had to live life, it's passed down to you. And now you have to process those things. And I know that it kind of sucks, but in reality, we're passing down things to our own children as well. And that's why we need to be aware of our healing, because our healing is beyond us. Now, in the second chapter, he moves into trauma and genetics. Big deal. You don't know, if you think about it, when you were a kid, my earliest memories are probably about the age of 2 or 3. Within this book, he talks about your memories and how they affect you, as well as how those genetic patterns. You think about it from my own lineage. I'm not too far away from, probably some of my lineage was in slavery. Probably some of my lineage was segregated against. Probably some of my lineage were redlined, all those things. And even though it didn't happen with me, it didn't start with me, i.e. play on words, that's the name of the book, it didn't start with you, it still affects me. That pain, that suffrage, those issues, those injuries, they live within me if they were not addressed properly by those who came before me. He talked about one of my favorite sayings is, turn your generational ghosts into ancestors. Can we all do that, please? Like, the world totally needs that. So many people living with things that should have been dead a long time ago. Dead and gone. Chapter 3, he gets into some more good stuff and he talks about how are you forgiving your mother. The chapter specifically says, let's talk about your feelings for your mother. Now, that's a big deal. A lot of us think that if we have issues with our parent, if we put them in the storage closet, if we put them in the closet, put those feelings, I'm saying, in those places, hide them away and live a different life, live a better life, that issue is gone. We put stuff away, it doesn't disappear. It's still waiting for us and it's piling up, it's getting bigger. That thing's going to get so big that you can't put your arms around it. And so we all have to come to terms with how we relationship with our parents, how we relationship with our grandparents, great grandparents, aunts, uncles, whomever it is. And he really breaks that down in this chapter. And then in chapter 4, he says, learn to verbalize your feelings. Oh my goodness. So many people are illustrative with their feelings and in actionable ways, meaning kicking, spitting, hitting, screaming, all those things. Okay, feel what you feel. You are entitled to that. That's yours. But the fallout from what you feel is big, and it will be bigger than you depending on the magnitude of what you've projected. So verbalizing that is a less, I'd say, a less aggressive way of putting that issue out into the universe. And communication is so big. I mean, that's why, when we live in one region, usually we speak that same language, because if we didn't, there would be a lot of issues. And even when we do speak the same language, as y'all know, text, people writing, people sending emails, sending letters, they can be mistaken. And so we just have to remember how crucial communication is. I hear a lot of people when they're upset, they don't speak. Yes, you should give yourself a minute if you're feeling volatile, but you do have to talk it out. The most uncomfortable conversations have produced the most fruitful circumstances in my life. So don't be afraid to vocalize what you want, what you need. And then also understanding is what I'm asking for. Is that real? Is that attainable? Or am I living in this superficial world idea of what I should want and what I should do and how it should look like? Just remember that self assessment is key. Chapter 5, he goes on to talk about tracing the source. So we talked about the generational trauma. We talked about, those memories that we harbor that aren't exactly thought of as it actually happened. So think about it. Something bad happens, your memories, they kind of get shuffled based on feelings, external influence, and just pure misunderstanding. That's just how life is. Sometimes you think you saw what it was and you didn't see what it was. And sometimes just self-evaluation of how you think, how you understand, how you process is a big thing. So tracing that source of who you are, why you are that way, and it'll help you come to terms with it. And it can also help you to push that identity back toward that person. You know what, Grandma, I love you. I appreciate who you were to me. I'm grateful for you giving me this kind heart, but I will not allow another person to drag along in my life like a dead body as I pull them through war. Because even a good soldier knows that if your buddy has passed away while in war, there is nothing you can do for him other than find freedom for yourself so that then you can come retrieve his body and pay respects and let his family know that he was injured. So those are big things in our lives where taking ownership, understanding where it came from, and understanding where it should have been left. That's how you continue on your legacy, not by harboring what has already is gone, is dead and gone. Number 6, moving toward peace. That's so big for me, y'all. I had to whisper. It is so huge. Like, peace is the biggest accomplishment of my life. When you are at peace, anxiety no longer ripples your waters. When you are at peace, you are not shaken by a thunderstorm. You are not shaken by a tornado. None of these things really matter. Don't get it twisted. You might, when it first comes up, you might be like, oh, okay, should I care about this? Or maybe I'm being a little reactive. But you are able to framework that thing and understand, is this my problem? Am I supposed to be actionable? If I am, what are those next steps? If I'm not, who owns that? And how do I move into a siloed place where what's actually happening is represented in the way that I am being actionable, the way that I'm moving? And so the book talks a lot about that, in that moving towards peace, and then understanding that peace is not necessarily a destination. Peace is an environment. Think about that. So if I can only be at peace if I'm in Jamaica, when I'm in America, I'm sad, I'm distraught. No, 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 no. But if my atmosphere is peace, it doesn't matter what comes through here. I am not shaken because my foundation is stable. And then he kind of wraps up in chapter 7. Chapter 7 is pretty, just a holistic overview of the book. And by the way, throughout the book, he had offered PDFs where you can do self assessments. That's a big deal because you're reading all of this. He's giving you all these goodies, all this great information. And then he's allowing you to come and make it relative to you by completing those little assignments that he has within the chapters to understand where your strengths and weaknesses are and how to develop and how to envelop yourself. And I think we can get caught up on them, this, that, everybody else, and then negate the fact that, you know what, we all play a part in this thing called life. And we only have control over us. That's it. And even still, under certain circumstances, those controls can be lost. And y'all all know what your own triggers are. So I want you to make that relative to how you relationship with other people, because a lot of times we believe Our saving grace, our sanctity lies in fixing them, fixing that, completing that, doing those things, when really it lies in this foundation internally. What does that look like? What have I come to terms with? What have I learned from my ancestors' struggles? And how am I going to live the life that God designed for me? So it's a big deal, y'all. Now I'm done marking, kind of going over. It didn't start with you, and it's a really juicy read. So I really hope that you do check it out. I'm telling you, Mark did his thing when he wrote that book. Mark Wolynn, by the way. And again, it didn't start with you. I think next time, what we're going to do, we're going to read this book. It's called Girl, Don't Count Yourself Out. This is by Sabrina Thomas. Y'all, I met her, and she was such a sweet lady. I met her at a conference, at the Mamathon conference. I attend that thing annually. I love it. It's sisters trying to change the world. And I mean women, us sisters. Let's be united. Queens should team up. But anyhow, Sabrina wrote this book and she gave it to me, y'all. When somebody gives me a good read, I get so excited about it. And I figured, hey, what better platform than my podcast to download something and unpack something that is near and dear to my heart. And that's putting yourself first. So I can't wait to talk about with y'all. Go grab you a copy so that we can talk about it in real time. I want to know your thoughts. But yes, we're going to see you next time here at Good Gossip. And we're going to be hanging out with an entrepreneur very soon. I cannot wait. Remember to send me your book ideas. If you have any, if you have show ideas, or if you just want to say, hey, go to goodgossip.online. We'd love to hear from you. Stay tuned for the next episode, y'all.